In 1943, a 21-year-old student stood inside a university in Munich and made a decision that would cost her her life. She wasn't a soldier nor a politician, just a student handing out leaflets. But in Nazi Germany, even words could be an act of resistance. Her name was Sophie Scholl. Sophie was part of a small group known as the White Rose. Alongside her brother Hans and a handful of other students, they began writing and distributing leaflets across Germany. Their message was simple, that the war was built on lies, and silence made people complicit. They called on ordinary Germans to resist, not with violence, but with thought and refusal. Each leaflet carried the same risk: arrest, interrogation, and in many cases, execution. By early 1943, the war had begun to turn. News of defeat at Stalingrad was spreading quietly, and the illusion of victory was beginning to fracture. The White Rose responded with their most direct message yet. On the morning of February 18th, Sophie and Hans entered the University of Munich, carrying a suitcase filled with leaflets. They placed stacks outside lecture halls, leaving them for students to find. And as they prepared to leave, Sophie made one final decision. She climbed the stairs to the upper floor and pushed the remaining leaflets over the balcony, letting them fall into the open hall below. It was a moment that lasted only seconds, but it was seen. A university caretaker loyal to the regime reported them immediately. Sophie and Hans were arrested that same day. Within 4 days they were brought before the People's Court, a trial in name, but not in outcome. They were found guilty of treason. The sentence was death. On February 22, 1943, Sophie was executed. She was just 21 years old. Her final words were reported as, "Such a fine sunny day, and I have to go. But what does my death matter, if through us thousands are awakened?" The White Rose was silenced, but their words continued to spread, carried beyond Germany, and remembered long after the regime they had opposed had fallen, not through power or position, but through the decision to speak when silence would have been easier.